Hey, I'm back. It's been a whole interesting year. I got to be honest with you. Well, I should say year. Well, it has been an interesting year. Every time I start these things, I always do something to flub it up. But I'm not even going to stop. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So the last 6 months for me have been 6 months, probably more like eight, have been fucking ridiculous in depending on how you look at it, good and bad ways. And I want to talk today about how you can take things that may seem negative and turn them positive because a lot of life is perspective. So let me explain to you the situation I've been in over this last winter and up until now. So I lost all my goats. They all died, every single one of them. I got to a point where I was doing biopsies and autopsies on them as they were dying and after they were dead, and I could not even figure out what was happening. I had no fucking idea. And essentially, I think it was February. Our last one died. This is officially the first time in 6 years that this property has not had a goat on it. I have four sheep. One randomly died. I think of worms, but that at least made it didn't really make sense, but I could understand it based on the analysis I did of the body. But it's been fucked. This winter was terrible. I pretty much everything that could have went wrong, and the thing that's crazy about it is that we had the most money, we were the most stable, we had the most resources set aside of any other winter. And, going into it, I was actually very confident. I was like, we have everything we need. How could it possibly go wrong? And everything that could have went wrong. And on top of all of that, I got fired. And I worked at a camp down in Manitowish Waters. Great employers. I got no problem with them. The administration changed. The old CEO liked me a lot. New CEO, I could tell she didn't really like me that much, but she dealt with it for a bit, but then eventually talked the board into removing my position when they changed the budget. So now I'm not there anymore. And now I am stocking at Walmart for dog shit pay. And, I took a huge pay hit. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of physical labor. I'm not putting the things on the shelves. I'm organizing the boxes into pallets and doing all this other bullshit with these the heavy things for the people that put them on the shelves. And I like that because it's more physically engaging. It goes faster. My biggest concern with taking that job was I didn't want to be sitting around being bored as fuck for 9 hours. And fortunately, that's not the case. It goes very fast. But I mean, like I said, it's brain dead, bullshit work. It pays terribly, but so just to frame it, things have not been going very well for me, and it's been I've been reflecting a lot. I've been thinking a lot, and it's I have a piece right now that is hard to explain, and also this camera keeps changing the lighting. I don't know why they always do that. I don't even know how to change it. We're just gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. This is like the fourth phone I've had since I've been here because they keep breaking or I keep falling into the pond and they break. They keep removing features. I don't know how to make it fucking work. I don't care. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to keep talking about what I was talking about. Um, so in worldly a worldly perspective, a worldly point of view, things have been objectively horrible for me. But let me tell you, I have not felt a greater peace or a greater understanding of my position than I do right now. And the reason precisely for that is I felt that there was an uneasy, how do you put it? There was an uneasy peace, the way that things were configured before. Things seemed too well. I was paid too much. I was doing too little. And, I'm the kind of person when I get treated too well, I start taking things for granted very easily. And I tend to function better when I'm struggling. And that may sound like insane or crazy or stupid. It's probably all three of those things. But yeah, I know myself well enough at this point that I know that that's the way that I am. When I'm struggling, I tend to be more I tend to be more productive. I tend to be more morally upright. I tend to be more virtuous in pretty much every way. And when I do too well, I start falling off. I'm not a person that can handle wealth or abundance well. And in a way, the last 6 years have been so not easy. I've had a lot of difficult times, but compared to how things could have went, I mean, everything could have failed. I could have lost everything. Um, and it's still, at the end of the day, even though I lost all my goats, I only got 4 sheep. I lost half my chickens, and the ducks actually did pretty well. Really run any problems with the ducks over the winter, which is cool. Now I'm brooding more, but um, I feel like I've learned a lot. You get to a point when you do something for a long enough time where you feel like I know what I'm doing. I think I pretty much figured it out, and I was getting to the point where I was kind of haughty, arrogant. I was like, I already got this. I got it worked out. I just bought a house for my friend, all that shit, and everything was timed out perfectly so that all of that could happen and set us all up for where we are right now. And now it's a return to form. I'm back to being paid like shit. We're basically back to square zero. I mean, we are at square zero with the goats. There are no goats on this property, so I have to figure that out again. We luckily have sheep and chickens and ducks, and they're doing good. So I can't say anything about that. Uh, but my point that I want to make, because I've been a little bit of rambling on this video, um, it would be easy for someone to be in the position I'm in right now and be fucking devastated, to lose all hope, to think, why is this happening to me? I know why it happens to me. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not a very good person, and I need these whips in the back to make sure that I'm fucking going the right direction. Uh, and a lot of life is perspective. It's looking at things, looking at the same thing, and trying to understand it in a way that makes sense of it in a grander narrative. I shouldn't say narrative. I don't like that word. In a grander perspective, because at the end of the day, I could not have been luckier to buy this particular parcel when I did. I mean, it still costs pretty much nothing to run this place. I'm not worried about losing it. If I lose the house, who gives a shit? I have strategies where they can't place a lien on this place, so I'm not worried about losing that. So at the end of the day, I was in a position where I feel like, I could have done more. You can always do more, and you always need to think about that. It's like there's always more to get done. There's always more you could do, but what did you do with the time you had? In the time that I had a lot of money and a stable employment, um, that looked good on records to for real estate and all that, I set up everything that we needed, and now that things have essentially crumbled a little bit and knocked me down several hundred pegs. Um, I'm in a position where I'm looking at everything and I'm seeing it's almost like being here again for the first time after 6 years, because I'm looking at everything that is, everything that we have, everything that has been built, and it's almost like looking at it with a completely new perspective. And I desperately needed that. I desperately needed that because I was starting to stagnate very badly, and I was losing a lot of the insight that I came here with. And it's because of that I've taken this misfortune, this set of circumstances that caused a great deal of suffering and will still cause a great deal of suffering, because I'm not going to have a lot of money and I still need to invest in things to make this place better. Um, you can't take it for granted anymore. All of my moves matter. I turn 30 next year. The next decade's worth of decisions are going to make or break this whole project. No more fucking around. It wasn't fucking around to begin with, but now it's if I fuck up and make terrible decisions for the next 10 years, this will all come to nothing. And that's not even entirely true, but when times are good, you need to make sure that you don't take it for granted. I'm bad at that. Don't take it for granted. And make sure you're thinking about times that are bad ahead, because even when things appear good, it may still be bad. Just because you're materially provided for doesn't mean that things are going to go the way you want them to. There's a whole spiritual dimension to this I'm not going to talk about. Being too secure in the material makes you take your mind off of spiritual things, and that definitely happened to me in a big way over the last year. And I guess when you look at it like that, when you look at that sort of reality and that sort of duality, um, not only was it deserved, it was necessary. And when you look at it as a sort of a balancing act, sort of trying to take excess and take poverty and average it out, suddenly things become a lot clearer. Um, Despite everything, I still feel as though I may be one of the luckiest men alive. And I feel like there's no greater vindication of what I've done and what I'm continuing to do than that reality. There's a lot of people that would lose everything, not everything, because I still have this, but go through the amount of loss that I went through this whole winter, and then lose their job and have to work a dog shit job for terrible pay at Walmart, and they'd be fucking devastated. They'd be thinking about killing themselves every fucking night. Got none of that. I'm happier than I was when I fucking was when things were better in the world's perspective. Just because it's a return to form. I'm forced to confront the things I've been able to ignore because of my material prosperity, and I desperately needed that. And that, I hope this wasn't a big ramble. It might have been a big ramble. I didn't really make any broad points, but that is how I'm looking at this situation. And I am beyond thankful that I can do this. I can do this job. I can have these setbacks and still wake up every morning with the same, piss and vinegar, even more piss and vinegar. I got more piss and more vinegar than I did before in the face of struggling, because I know where things could be, and I know I can still get there. Things to think about, things to apply. Have a good day.